And you definitely rolled, right? So your first full year, I mean, 25 transactions and 7 million in gross volume sales. I mean, your average realtor that jumps in this business, their first year, they do 10 grand in commissions, right? So you're talking, 10 to 15 times what the average realtor does. And we all know the stats, 90% fail the first 3 years. And like, what did you do? That October clicks. You're like, all right, man. Before it was just kind of a hobby. They're like, okay, now I got to make this into a career and provide for my family and level up here. What did you do in that first year to go out there and create the success that you created?
At the beginning, man, there was no rhyme or reason. Anything I could find on YouTube. I mean, I've told you how big of a deal you played in. I watched your videos and the people you interviewed, and I was taking notes, sitting on the desk and doing all those things. So, I mean, I had a ground idea about what to do. But man, I just started writing handwritten notes. The first thing I did was I literally pulled every single expired from any county that was even within, an hour drive of me, and I started writing handwritten notes. And I think the final count by the time the end of the year hit, I had gone over 300 expires, and they may have been resold or whatever, but I didn't care. I just kept writing them and said, I'll sell your house, I guarantee it. And, so I did some of those things. Reaching out on social media was a big deal for me. Some sphere referral stuff, but to be honest with you, I didn't get anything from October to December. I had nothing in the pipeline. Nobody ever heed my warning. Just because you're tight with friends does not mean they want you to sell their house, your first year in the business. So, and I learned that one the hard way. And, after that, I joined a team on the premise of, it's better to give more commission away on the front end and have a better referral base on the back end than to have to, run that risk of not making it. So I did join a team for a short period of time where I got some leads going and things like that, and ended up getting one under contract. So that was like my first one, on being a full-time agent. So, yeah.
So then your first 4 months, like you said, you essentially pulled a donut, which is, I mean, if you break it down, I mean, everything that we do today, we're not going to see the fruits of that for 3 or 4 months anyway. So that's common and what people should expect. Like when I'm interviewing a new agent for the team, I'm like, how much money you got in the bank, dude? You're fresh out of real estate school. It's going to probably be 4 to 6 months before you start seeing commissions roll in, even if you start working your ass off now today, right? So then those 25 transactions really transpired in the last 8 months. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, I just went from January to December of last year as a full 25.
Okay.
25
yeah.
Yep. So, I actually worked for a smaller brokerage that was bought out by Berkshire. And so there was an increase in my split there, and I wasn't too happy about that. Like we talked about, competitive, I know what I want and I know what I'm going for. And, I didn't feel right about it. So I made the change to a Remax out here. And, man, that's been the best move. I don't want to pump, individual, places out, but man, the company I work for has been nothing but phenomenal to me. And, that really, they pushed me over that hump too, so.
Yeah. Love it, dude. So, I mean, outside of the better split there, and I think this is important to talk about because I get this question all the time of how to identify the brokerage and I do feel that it plays a massive role, I started my first 9 years of my career with Remax, and I don't think I would have had near the success that I had without, being there. And it wasn't necessarily Remax. It was that particular franchise, right? I mean, you had a lot of A players in there, the energy that was there, the mentorship was huge. I'm jumping at 23 years old, broke as a joke. I couldn't afford it, but I figured it out. I'm charging everything on credit cards on faith, and it paid off huge. So, talk to us with that change. I mean, what were things that attracted you to that particular brokerage? And like, what advice, now that you've made that change and seen the difference between what a brokerage can have, in addition to just the money and the splits, but what are advice that you would give agents to look for in a brokerage that have helped you, that have had that big impact on you?
So a big thing for me was, we have a cap with Remax, with my franchise. We have a cap. We have really minimal office fees every month. So let's just ballpark it at like $15,000 for the year, right? Between my cap and my office fees and the Remax fee and all that stuff. So it's about 15 grand, which sounds like a lot to the brand new agent. I get it, because it sounded like a lot to me too. However, I've gotten leads. I've closed 3 deals from leads that they've procured through their own website. I had nothing. I didn't have to do anything with that. I signed up on a sheet and said, I'm on call this day. And, the phone rang and they said, hey, I want you to list my house, literally that easy. And I was like, holy cow. Okay. All right. I'll be there. And, can you do tomorrow? So, I think it ends up being, what are you looking for? Right. I mean, a lot of people get away from some of these brokerages because they have the desk fees and stuff, but they don't take into consideration that they go on a step up split or something. You know what I mean? So don't just say that you want to make money, because all of us want to make money. All of us, if you asked every single realtor in the world, if I can make you a millionaire tomorrow, would you do it? Everybody would say, yeah. But, how are you going to get there? So for me, the leads and the support from what I was getting at my previous brokerage was good, but I just saw it a step higher once I came to the franchise that I was with. And also, like you did, a couple in the area that I work, a couple of the top performing agents in these areas were from this franchise. So, just osmosis, you'll being around the office, listen to what they're doing. One of them doesn't like to share too many tricks, but the other ones, man, they've helped me about, they've helped educate me on farming and how they're doing. And, we have a real open discussion about a lot of the things that they're doing and, taking bits and pieces from everybody and just making whatever you do good, your own, has been beneficial. So I guess to answer your question, I would say, look at the whole picture, not just, what you're going to make. Cause if you truly intend on doing this for a long period of time, is it worth that knowledge and that base and that lead generation and all these other things, to maybe pay a little bit more on the front end, and get there faster, or, pay less on the front end, but maybe you're not going to get as much training and support and those things and be around the same kind of agents, and it's going to take you longer to hit that same line of maybe these other places.
Yeah, man, I love it, dude. And I again, I mean, for me, it wasn't so much the tactics that agents shared as far as, lead generation and whatever. My thought was, man, I can go learn this stuff on my own. I just wanted to be around producers. I just wanted to be around that energy, the right people with the right attitudes, the right work ethic. And, because like you said, success through osmosis is such a true thing, and I even look at it like at the brokerage I'm with today, right? Like you get to a point where money only motivates you so far. I think most entrepreneurs, just like you talked about your football and MMA and like you're competitive as hell. Right? And you get to the point where like the money's good enough, right? Well, then what keeps you going? It's like the brokerage I'm with, dude. Like I'm not even number one in my own area with my own brokerage, right? As far as I got a dude that's, doubles my business, and every single month when I see him top of that leaderboard, man, it freaking pisses me off, dude. It motivates me so much heavier and more so than even money, right? So, it becomes so massive. So I love it, dude.
I always tell everybody just on that note, I know like him or hate him or whatever, but Conor McGregor said it best, when you're as competitive as people like you and I didn't come here to take part. I came here to take over.
Yeah.
I didn't, and if you don't have that mindset, good, that's fine. It's not for everybody. But if you truly feel that, I don't want to just be okay. Like, okay is not okay with me. You know what I mean? I want to be at the best possible. And at the end, when I'm on my deathbed, and I say, and I can look myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I gave it everything I had. Dude, I threw a caution to the wind. I just, I didn't care what people thought. I started putting out video, and I went for it. You can actually feel good about, what you've accomplished in your life,
Yeah, love it, man. It's the ultimate scoreboard, dude, right? Because you've been through some of that training. So, all right, dude. So now that you're in, kind of your full year number 2, if you will, it sounds like your first year. I mean, you were very intentional and very consistent with the expired handwritten notes, with hitting your sphere of influence and your social media strategies. Has anything changed going into your second year, or are you continuing those same things?
Well, you'll be proud to know that I've actually updated my tracker every single day since January 1st.
My man. Yep.
And that comes for people that maybe haven't, Josh does the 90-day mastery. I went through it. I mean, I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and I said, I'm going to get $900 up and take this course because I know it's going to – I just felt that you spoke my language, you know, and I think that, you know, maybe there's people out there that don't speak to everybody. You know, there's other coaches out there. There's people, I mean, you YouTube anything about real estate, you'll get about 15 coaches out there, you know? So I think, you know, just some advice for people that may be on the fence about your 90-day mastery. You know, if they're listening to your podcast and they like your content, Josh is the same guy in there, but with a heck of a lot of direction, man. I mean, he gives you step-by-step guides, and it blew my mind. I mean, I couldn't wait till, I think it was Wednesdays, right? You do the pod or the.
Yeah, we stagger them. So one's Mondays, one's Wednesdays. But
right.
Yeah.
So I always did the Wednesday one, and you know, I can't tell everybody how much it made a difference in my life. You know, not just my business, because the stress that comes from trying to remember all these things in your head, and you know, I got this one in escrow, and I got this inspection, I got the TC blowing my phone up, I got this going on, I got all these things. You know, what some of the stuff that you gave us in that 90-day mastery just made my life easier. Yeah. and it made my wife happier. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no, I truly appreciate that, dude.